Let's talk a little bit about your third record, The Black Parade, because when that came out, it just exploded. How did that affect the band?
Well, it was interesting because I think the perception was that it exploded, but it
It's like a while.
it did.
Kind of gradually went up, and the
Yeah,
whole time.
but like in Europe or in
Right.
Denmark,
Yeah.
it was like, whoa, I didn't know that band, and suddenly it was all over the place.
In some countries, I guess.
Yeah, but we were on tour the whole time, you know. I mean, so like we would get phone calls from our parents or whoever and be like, "Yeah, you're on TV a lot," or I heard that on the radio like a bunch, and it was like, "Oh, really?" There's more kids at the shows. Yeah. Well, there's more kids at shows like singing along, so I guess people are starting to hear about it, and then it was just we kind of just kept our heads down and worked and just kept playing shows, and we're really excited.
Yeah, and if looking from the outside, it seemed that suddenly it became more than a band. It became like this thing. This
It became a thing. It became like a movement or a cultural thing, and that definitely did happen during Black Parade. And that I think was maybe the most difficult thing to deal with or come to grips with, because it's a loss of almost total control of something you all created together. You always lose control of your songs when you put those out into the world, but to lose control of almost everything and have it be this cultural thing, that's kind of tough. So I think we spent 4 years getting that control back.
And looking at the album before that, the Sweet Revenge, that was quite successful.
Yeah.
You had like 3 good singles, but on the Black Parade it was just single after single. You ended up releasing 5 or 6
There was a lot more, on Parade. It's interesting because I feel with Danger Day there's going to be even more. There's just more opportunities for there's more of a variety, I think.
It's always awesome when you make something and people get it, like they got it. That's always really gratifying.
And it's also cool that with the new record and the Black Parade, you kind of grew out of the trend. You showed that we're not a part of that scene. We're a real band, and you're like the only one left standing.
I kind of always felt it was going to be that way, though, because we were never following a trend. We were just doing what felt right, and then you would see it get plugged into stuff, and then people copying it or whatever, and then you were like, well, that's not part of it. That's not a scene. What we created isn't a scene. It's just a thing,
Yeah.
And so I kind of felt like I was never worried about kind of being the last one standing.
And when the never-ending Black Parade tour ended, was it scary to be back in Jersey and be thinking, fuck, we're gonna make a new record?
Yeah, super scary. It definitely did. Like, at first it's weird. There was definitely a good amount of time where you were like happy to be home and resting, but then you start getting like the itch.
Yeah.
And it's like, but also like there was just some stuff going on where like, we're just not
where's
ready
the
to write a
catering
record. Yeah, you don't know. Totally, you feel like almost like shell shocked in a bit. So.
But was it scary to start working on the new album then?
Yeah, that was pretty scary. Well, we also, I don't think we're ready. We just kind of needed to play together. I think that's all we really needed to do. Instead of start making an album, we should have just been playing a lot together and just hanging out and just doing that and get the engine going.
Let's talk a lot about the new album, but
Sure.
let's just watch the video to Na Na Na.